Okay.
Hi there, Jen Vasquez with Wed Photography Coach. Today, I'm so excited. We are talking to my friend, but also my business associate, Kristina Rust. And she is, and I want to get this right, so I'm reading from notes here, a personal brand photographer and social media marketing strategist who is very passionate about helping businesses and entrepreneurs elevate their businesses and connect with their ideal client through visual imagery and social media marketing. Now, those are big words. And a lot of people are like, okay, so let's break it down. What is personal brand photography? Let's start there.
Sure. So kind of in a nutshell, it is how you develop kind of that know, like, and trust factor through visual imagery. So it's kind of going beyond the traditional headshot and really showcasing kind of who you are, what it is you do, how to connect with your client through these images. So again, it's developing that trust by kind of showing your personality and what makes you different than others within your industry.
Perfectly said. That makes a whole lot more sense.
Yes.
What is brand and social media strategy? Like social media marketing strategy? What is that?
So it's kind of taking those images, the visual component. I mean, there's a lot that goes into, of course, a social media strategy, but when you talk about your visual strategy, like how are you using those images that you've had from a personal brand photography shoot to really market yourself online? So how do you connect with people and develop kind of a plan around that? So whether it's using Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, as the vehicles to connect with your audience, and then creating engaging captions and hashtag strategies so that your content gets seen, as well as the engagement that we all, hope to get.
So to break that down, like even further for like wedding photographers like us, you take images that will elevate our social media and also can help with the strategy on what we should be talking about or how we should be talking about it to get more eyeballs.
Definitely. So it's, I think people get kind of stuck, they have say a personal branding shoot and they have all these beautiful images and then they're kind of like, okay, now what? Like, how do I, actually create a caption around it? Like, how can I get people to see it? So I like to help my clients actually put together a plan on how to use the images. And we do that even in advance of the shoot, because you want to go into a photo shoot knowing, I want photos for Pinterest. I want photos for my website. I need photos for a Facebook or for an article. So you really need to kind of think beforehand, like what are the types of images you need to capture, and then
I'm sorry, that was like literally my next question, so you're so smart. So go ahead and continue. Sorry.
Well, again, taking a bunch of photos is great, but you want to have a mix of content. So and an idea in mind, again, as to how you're going to use them. Like, do you need photos that have a lot of negative space because you want to add text and you're doing a banner for your Facebook page, or you need a banner image for your website or an article and you want to be able to place text, or you're doing a piece, a Pinterest graphic and you want to have a vertical image. So you really need to think through, like, I need this kind of, image because it's going to be a Pinterest post, so I need a vertical image, or I'm going to do a banner, so I need to make sure I have a horizontal image where there's enough space that I can have the width that I need for a big, if it's a hero image, that I can have the text and that it's not like when you zoom in, just, your face. Because sometimes if it's too much of a close-up, you're not going to be able to incorporate it into your template well. So it's thinking through all those details.
Well, and I mentioned in the very beginning that you're my friend, but you're also, I'm a business associate, because you did all of the images for my website rebrand last year, which
Yes.
is like so exciting.
Yeah.
So every image of me that you see on the website is something that Kristina took. And she was really good to make sure, even to the point of, on one of them, I'm walking, and to make sure that it was like a blank background, because on my website, there's like colors around me, and my web designer, did something fancy with it.
Right.
So knowing in advance what you want. Oh, and also one of my favorite pictures that I use a lot is the one with the white coffee cup. And
Right.
I often will put, through Canva, of course, put print on there, like join me or
Right.
whatever, so that I can make that photo even more applicable to what I'm saying in the post.
How you're using it. Yeah. And it was great, because we had the conversations to plan, and that's part of the planning process, like what props would make sense so that you can do these great things like you did, in terms of using the images and getting more, bang for your buck, getting a lot out of the investment.
Yes. What are things to take into consideration when you're planning a personal brand photography shoot?
Well, again, kind of as we were touching on, like, how are you going to use the images, where you're going to use the images, taking into consideration like the tone, do you want kind of a romantic feel, an edgy feel, because that will dictate the location that you choose. Again, the color palette, taking into consideration your clothing choices.
Branding color. You're
Yes,
wearing your branding
I'm wearing
color.
mine. Exactly.
Yes.
So just those little things, because again, if you're going to use a lot of images on your website, and say your website has a pastel look, you wouldn't necessarily want to have a bunch of photos of you in primary colors, because it's not going to give a cohesive look to your website. So, taking into, again, consideration, your palette of colors that fit your brand.
Well, when we worked together, I knew that part of my brand is joyful and adventurous and playful, and I knew I wanted a ton of laughing pictures. And so that's something that you were able to help me to bring out, because as most of you all know, I cannot stand being behind the camera. It's like really painful for me.
Right.
So working with you, because it was so comfortable working with you, I was able to get those images that I really needed and wanted, not just for my website, but for social media. And I think so. Probably what you're saying is taking into consideration also the who.
Yes. Yeah. And what is it that you're trying to convey? Like, like you said, your personality, the joyful, that it's fun. So when we, talked about that, it was like, okay, what can we incorporate that helps exemplify that feeling? And the confetti was perfect.
No, that was my favorite picture, the confetti. I love it.
Yeah.
What are other things that maybe you want to keep in mind when hiring a personal brand photographer?
I think the important thing, there's a lot of awesome portrait photographers out there, but a personal brand photographer, it's really a specialty. You want someone who knows how to think through planning a story, knows the importance of having, the different types of images, whether they're the vertical, the negative space like we were just discussing. You also want to make sure that you're getting a commercial license so that you're able to use them, to sell your products and services. And the ability to edit. A lot of times when you do a family shoot or a portrait shoot, you are not allowed to edit the images in any way. But with personal branding, that should be something you see in your contract, that you have the ability to edit the photos as you see fit. Like maybe you need to do a filter because it matches your overall branding aesthetic, or adding text. So you should have that flexibility to do all of that.
That's a really good point. I think this is a point when I want to bring up for wedding photographers out there. I have in the past, and I'm sure most wedding photographers, they will legitimately put up a tripod, sit down, take a picture on a timer, or have a clicker to do it. And while you're going to get professional images because you're a professional photographer and you have a professional camera, it doesn't matter. Having a branding specialist take my photos meant that she got to work with me on angles, on the tilt of my chin, all these things that we don't see unless we're looking through our camera. And we preach all the time to our clients. You know, hiring a wedding photographer is super important. You can hire any professional wedding photographer, but they don't know on the day of the wedding all the crazy that can happen.
Right.
Well, the same can be true for personal brand photography.
Right.
Hire a brand photography specialist. This is my PSA to everyone out there.
Right.
Because it's the same thing. You're an expert in that area. So you'll take a picture as an example of like me with the cup and stuff like that. But then you might also take close-ups of the cup, or you'll take a picture of the cup and actually have tea in it because I drink tea. Like it's all the details.
The details, yeah. And being mindful too of just the background, right? Like, you know, I mean, it's these silly little things, but like, you know, the other people, if you're doing stuff that's kind of on location, you know, making sure that you're in an area where you don't have to worry about, you know, who's walking in the background, or that there's additional chairs in the background. Like it's all those details that you need to think through so that you can get, you know, quality images that you're going to be able to use.
Yeah. You were really good with me when we worked together. I mean, I thought it was just like make an appointment and show up on the day. Little did I know.
No.
So you have like a whole process that you take people through so that you're really ensuring that you're getting everything that they need. And most especially working with a brand photographer or personal brand photographer, they're going to know the things that you would miss normally, right? So what is your process? Describe for everyone what
Sure. So, you know, basically we'd have a conversation on the phone to talk about your goals, you know, kind of the images you want to convey or capture, the type of mood you want to convey, et cetera. And then I'd send you a branding guide, and it has really specific questions.
And it was so much more in depth than I thought. I was like, sure, send me the questionnaire or the guide. Oh my goodness. All these things I didn't think about.
But it's a great exercise just in general, you know, I think, to go through like, okay, what are my brand colors? You know, what are the activities? How am I different than my competitors? You know, how can I connect with my audience? Like, is it a shared love of travel? Is it a shared love of going to the beach? You know, all of these things then kind of help guide us in terms of the types of photos that we're going to capture, as well as the locations that we're going to go to.
That's brilliant. And so for all you all, I worked last year with her for my branding photos, and we're getting together again because it's time. You should take them how often should you take them?
You know, ideally, really, I would say once a quarter, just because of seasonal changes, so that you can have, you know, you're not just in a sweater.
Winter, summer, You
know, so that you fit the season, and, you know, you may change your hairstyle. You know, again, I think the season is great so that you can really incorporate, like, okay, what is it that you like to do in the summertime, or having the fall backgrounds. It just fits, you know, the content of your calendar content a lot better to have more. But however, I understand that may not be a possibility for everyone. So in that case, at least, you know, once or twice a year would be, you know, at the minimum.
Yeah.
You need that.
Make a note. I want to bring my Alexa with me when we do our shoot, because that's part of my brand. I am obsessed.
Always asking.
I love Alexa. So it's not something I would ever remember until you just brought this up right now. So you're already helping me too.
Well, and I had one client, she was a big, she likes to pull cards every morning and then journal based on that. So it was like, you know, what are these little things that, you know, might help you connect.
I got my chocolate lab stretching.
There you go. Yeah, well, and there you go, having your dog in the
lab, right?
And you will attract fellow pet lovers, right? So it's all those little things. And then in that guide, I give a lot of suggestions, as well as like posing suggestions, prop suggestions, so that you can think through, okay, yeah, I want to bring the coffee cup. I want to bring this magazine, the wedding magazine, because it really is a place where I find inspiration.
Or glitter.
And then what we did too, which I think was super helpful, is we created a Pinterest board that we
Oh,
shared.
yes.
And both of us could pin ideas so that you could see what I was thinking. I got a sense for what you were looking for. And those visual images are a huge help in, making sure that you're going to get the images that you like, and just gives a lot of great inspiration and ideas.
And then I can go ahead and go on to our Pinterest board from last time and
Yeah.
update with newer things or take off things that I feel like we've
That
already
we've covered.
covered.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
that is
And I
brilliant.
think the other thing too that's really great, and we did a little bit of that, is just even capturing little short video snippets
Yes, behind the scenes is
behind the
big for
scenes,
wedding photographers, but we
for
never
sure.
do behind the scenes personally, right?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Or
like
just,
good
a
old
little thing
transcoding.
of you
Yeah.
writing, in your journal or typing on your computer. Like those can be used, so it's just good to keep this little library of imagery that you can pull from when you need it.
Well, and especially because we spend the bulk of our time editing, not even photographing weddings.
Right.
So I didn't even think about doing that. So make a
Yeah,
note
we'll
of
write
that.
that down. Yeah, showing how you edit photos and how you cull images. Like there's lots of great
Yeah.
behind the scenes type, and not meaning behind the scenes of you at a wedding, but behind
Yeah.
the scenes in your workflow.
So two things. I'm going to touch on like what services you provide with regard to social media marketing,
Sure,
that like piece of
sure.
it. But before I get to that, um, since it's ideal to do a quarterly shoot,
Hmm.
do you have like a package deal that would include like 2 shoots or 4 shoots for people to like, maybe get a slight discount to book you in advance, but then know that we can have a
Yes.
schedule every 3 months?
Yes, for sure. So I have, a basic package pricing. When you look on my website, there's, the kind of starting at, but I will definitely customize a package, especially if it's one that is, on kind of a quarterly basis. You definitely would get a discount for that. And
That's
I think it's a great way to just, again, make that commitment to yourself.
force yourself,
Right.
aka.
Yes. Well, and it is a good investment, right? You've gotten a lot of leverage out of those photos, and it shows you how you are different from your competitors.
Yes, and I've talked with you multiple times about how I hate posting images of myself.
Right.
But when we were doing the consulting before my last shoot, you talked about those are the images that are going to get the most likes, which I thought you were insane. Lo and behold, those are the images that get the most
Right.
likes. I'm like, me?
I
I've got
know.
beautiful wedding photography. What are they doing liking me? Like, I just don't get it. But it's like you said, it's a connection, a no like
Yeah.
and trust
Yeah.
that you're building.
Yeah. I encourage everybody to, post more photos of themselves. And because it gets a lot of engagement and interaction. And that's what you want. You want people coming, to your page, and the more interaction it gets on Instagram, the more that photo is going to be shown to more people, and your name is going to get out there. So it's important to show yourself.
Perfect. As far as helping with social media marketing, what are the services you provide in like that area?
So, basically what I'm doing is helping people use the images that we create. So rather than just, taking these photos and being like, okay, I've got a bunch of great images on my hard drive and I'm going to, plug one in for my website, I will help you really plan and a strategy to use the images, as well as, we can go deeper in terms of, I can assist you with creating captions. I can assist you with putting together a hashtag strategy, as well as a strategy to plan your, the posting. So using, Facebook publishing or third-party apps like Planoly or Plan or Later, so that we can do it efficiently and get your, content out there. And of course, like the mix of content, not just the photos that we capture,
Sure.
but
Do you also offer services for actually doing social media? Because I know a lot of wedding photographers, the 2 areas that they're looking to outsource are editing and
yeah.
also social media. Because
Yes.
we just like to do wedding photography. We don't necessarily want to be doing all of the social media.
Yes. Yeah. No, I can definitely manage that aspect for you. I've got a few clients actually in the 3D ultrasound imaging arena. So it's a little
Yeah.
different area or industry, but I do all of the posting for them on their Instagram, as well as I do some stuff, volunteer for a nonprofit, and I manage their Instagram. So that can definitely be something you can outsource and get off your plate. And I'm, offering that service.
That is amazing. And you can do that for anyone in the world, because I know many of this is going to be posted to YouTube and also to my podcast.
Awesome.
And many of those people that listen or follow are not necessarily in California. So
Right. And I've got basic rates on my website, but again, that can be customized based on, need.
Perfect. All right. What are one or two things that people can do? Like, okay, they watch this video and they're walking away from the video. What are a couple different things that they can do to really make their personal brand or social media better?
Well, I think the key thing is to post consistently, to really make sure that you are putting yourself out there and content out there. So if you can't do it every day, pick 3 days a week, start with that, and then hopefully add in more, more days of posting, but consistency is key. And then, one thing that we've discussed is just having a really good Instagram bio. So you want to make sure on your bio on Instagram that you're telling people what you do, how they can contact you, where you're located, and who you serve. I think a lot of folks like to add sort of, and here I know when we're talking about personal branding, they add all these little personal tidbits there, and really that should be more in your
content.
Yes, in your visual content. And in that, I mean, it's kind of like your business card, right? You want to treat that like your business card.
A little bit more information and professional. I see a lot of people with a bunch of emojis, and I'm married with 5 children, and I love God, and I love God too. But we want to make sure that in 5 seconds, which is sometimes all you get to even, or 2 seconds, just looking at the bio, you want to know what you do, how you do it, and who you do it for, right?
Exactly.
Or some combination of that.
Exactly.
And then the contact you is brilliant, because yes, they can click the little message button or click the phone button if you have your phone hooked up, but even having like for a link of some kind helps them to know how they can just click a button and get to you. So brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me what you might have coming up for folks in case they want some help.
Yes, well, I'm super excited here in the Silicon Valley area in which I live, and you as well. I'm offering a workshop on February 14th in Saratoga. It's from 9 until 11 a.m. So we'll be showing our social media some love on Valentine's Day. Basically, what I want to do is just kind of, work with everyone, rolling up their sleeves and actually kind of tackling our social media. So I'll be sharing information, and then we'll actually be doing, taking action on the account. So it's definitely a hands-on workshop. I've got a link in my bio on Instagram or Facebook to purchase a ticket. It's $50. It's a 2-hour workshop.
That's so affordable. So people are going to go get educated and then actually take action that day. So the time that they're spending is actually getting work done. Sometimes I leave after a really great workshop, but then I'm thinking, oh my God, like, where do I start? Or just don't do it when I get back.
Yes. And I know some people just really need a little bit of hand holding in terms of, it's great. You can listen to a YouTube video or watch a YouTube video, but sometimes it's just nice to have somebody say, no, click here.
Over the shoulder.
Over the shoulder. And I think in this age of, social media and technology, we're losing a bit of that personal interaction. So I'm hoping this kind of addresses that need of just having like someone actually that in person that you can ask questions and get help. So I'm super excited.
That is very cool. And I know that you're going to keep it sort of limited in size.
Yes.
You are doing very hands-on. So if anyone is interested in this, please, please, please
Yeah.
immediately go. I'm going to put all of your information down below, from your
Thank you.
website to Instagram to Facebook to email, so that people have
Awesome.
no confusion on how to contact you.
I
And
appreciate it.
I really want to thank you for taking the time today away from your business to really help my followers and wedding photographers to get a leg up in this area.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
You too. Bye.